an ethnicity is a cult?
Yeah. What's up, Zion Dynasty family? Yeah, I'm trying something a little different. Right now, I kind of got it handheld. Like I'm holding it. Not handheld like a, but I just want to kind of rant. Y'all rant usually every morning, but I don't know. I'm trying not to show my hospital affiliate. Trying to keep it kind of over here. But yeah, family, I just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about gaslighting. And I know a lot of seasoned older Israelites that have been in this walk for quite some time, have experienced a lot of this stuff, and are well accustomed to, you know, knowing the attacks that you're going to go through in this walk, right? So I just want to kind of talk a little bit about that. How people have you think you're crazy. Now, we know we're not crazy. We know we got Bible prophecy. We know the scriptures, the Spirit of the Most High Yah, His Ruach has showed us who we are as a people and that kind of thing. But there are certain tactics that Satan uses, y'all, especially on these jobs. Like, and it's so many types of different Negroes, different Israelites that you're going to encounter on this walk. Those that, like I told y'all in the last video, those that are like those Judases that are just betray your black behind, which I'm finding out is real, y'all. People that hear us talking about that we're Israel, they think that it's some kind of cult or some kind of voodoo or something. And only in America does a ethnicity have to prove their right to stand up for themselves. I'm telling y'all, that stuff is crazy. Like, we're actually arguing about why black people can't stand up for themselves. And it just shows you the nature of the beast that we live in. And it's gaslighting. You'll be on these jobs and they'll you know, throw shade and that kind of thing, which I'm learning not to, you know, you can embrace that thing. You can jump into that shade and just have fun with it. But your own people will do it under the idea that, yeah, you know, they're talking about hate speech anyway. He talking about stuff that stuff ain't right, that ain't God like. So it'll justify in their own minds the right for them to attack you, because they don't know history. They don't know that Yeshua, according to history, was a black Judean zealot. Like the Nazarenes were one of the most militant Israelite factions that believed in the liberation of Israel, believed that they were going to be saved from the hand of their enemies, believed in the coming kingdom, that the kingdom suffered violence and the violent take it by force. Like a lot of historians, y'all, say that Yeshua had rebel rousers in the mountains. Like he had countless Israelite zealots that were willing to fight at his command. You know, not just the chariots we talked about in the heavens, but that he had actual Judean zealots that would support him. So he was like a rebel rouser black nationalist, like Dr. King, or well, more like Malcolm X. So when you know that kind of history, it puts things in perspective. That the beginning of the whole white liberal movement, if you will, started in Rome. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It started with Rome taking the history of our people. The same Romans that crucified Yeshua, that crucified Peter upside down, that cut James's head off, that cut Paul's head off, Nero did. So how them same Roman Europeans, now they're the Roman Catholic Church. You gotta look. White liberalism did not start with these folks that act like they're our friends. So that whole agenda of taking our history has already been going on. And they've altered the perspective of the scriptures and told us that it was all about loving everybody, and that God is not for one group of people and all of this stuff, and Israel doesn't matter, and replacement theology and all this kind of stuff. When history doesn't say that. History says that the kingdom was the Judean mindset, that the Messiah would regather all the diaspora of Yah's people. They would save them from the hands of their enemies. I'm talking about like a war, right? War of Armageddon. And that the Most High would fight on behalf of Zion and free them and give them autonomy in their land. Because we know historically that the Romans were in Judea. They had their own puppet leaders. They had their own rebel rousers. And a lot of that stuff, y'all. They were putting their own Pharisees, their own priests in positions of power. So the gospel was to liberate Zion from the hand of their enemies, the Messiah will regather all of the 12 tribes, those that were in Judea and those children that were scattered. This is where the prodigal son comes in. When you look at the parable of the prodigal son, it shatters Christian thought, you know, that God, the Most High, came for all groups of people, when Christ himself said he only came for the lost sheep. So when you look at the prodigal son's story, you have the house son, which is like Judeans, those that practiced Torah, those that lived in the land. Then you had Hellenized lost sheep Israelites that were scattered, assimilated, keeping the Greco-Roman culture and that kind of thing. So when you look at the story of the prodigal son, it shows you what the Messiah's heart is: to regather Israel, free them from the Romans, turn them back to Torah, and cause a black revolution, or the revolution of Israel. We know they were Negro Judeans, historically speaking, right? So y'all, this stuff is just history repeating itself, and a lot of y'all have been catching this kind of hell as well. It's just been going on because the time is getting short, y'all. Our salvation is coming. The Most High, he's getting ready to come and regather us and take us back to Zion. And right now you got, sad to say, a lot of our own people that are attacking that thing, man. I just didn't know how deep this stuff was. Like when you look at like gaslighting and what tactics your own people are do, because they're so afraid of their jobs, man, that they'll all the white supervisor got to do, all Esau got to do is just dangle some fruit, and they'll sell their own brother out over what? And then they'll justify it in their minds because, you know, God loves everybody. And it's just a scapegoat to keep themselves from being obliged or obligated to care about the welfare of their people. You got to teach that we're the only species of the human race that you have to teach to preserve themselves, and that their history, their ethnicity, and all that stuff matters. We're the only people you have to teach that. Most people know that's common sense. You know, that's commonplace, that, you know, to love yourself is not hatred towards another people. If anything, you can't withdraw from a bank account that you don't have money in, you don't have the proper funds. The Bible says to love your neighbor as you love yourself, which means you must first love yourself. Abraham was supposed to be a blessing, blessed to be a blessing. That means he got to be blessed first. He has to have it first to be able to give it to other people. If he doesn't have it, then he's not going to be able to properly and legitimately give it to other people, right? And that's all that Israel's saying. We're saying that, well, we matter, right? I don't believe in the whole black, that's a color thing, you know. But Negro or more goes back to that Israelite Sephardic history, which is more accurate. But our lives matter, right? And that we shouldn't be ashamed to stand for our community and regather lost tribes. And we're the only people that even have to talk like this, right? Because the whole sentiment, even these white liberals that claim to be for the struggle, they'll convince you of how you're supposed to feel and tell you, you know, you're just supposed to be caring about all people and that kind of thing. But like I said, you can't legitimately do that if you don't first, you know, charity begins at home. If you first don't make sure that your people are doing well. And our people, we already know, are catching a lot of madness, y'all. And you know, this has been going on for the past 400 or 500 years, where our people have been just suffering and going through the curses of Deuteronomy 28. And now we're waking up and saying, you know, yeah, we need to turn back and build our people. And that's why I be telling y'all, family, unity is the key. We have to come together as one heartbeat, and don't let certain things that divide us keep us apart from one another. Especially within Israel. Like, we already got the nations that have tried to divide the Most High's people, but you gotta have the wherewithal to know that we can't allow like camps versus the moderates versus the black Jews that are documented versus Hebrew Israelites and all of this madness that only takes place because we allow people to tell us how we should feel. And that's gaslighting, y'all. I'm telling you, that stuff is real. Where people will tell you that it's wrong to care about yourself when you can't care for others until you first start with yourself. So y'all just wanted to kind of say that early morning little rant. I got here faster than what I thought I would have got here. But yeah, I might pick this up when I get out and about, kind of go a little bit deeper in it, especially after I go in here and see all this madness that's getting ready to go on. What's up, Zion Dynasty family? Y'all, your boy, your favorite Pastor JB, I'm back in this thing, y'all. I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit more. I'm kind of liking the whole card talk. It puts things in perspective. Sometimes during the day, even when I'm at work, I can kind of go off and kind of, take me a break and kind of go on what is going on while I'm at work, while I'm interacting with our people, and really deal with that mindset, right? That our people, like I said in the last talk, have to be trained to know that it's all right to love yourself and to stand for your community. Because we've been taught so long, family, that that's ungodly, that God is not about a family. But when you look at the Judeo scriptures, when you look at Torah, when you look at the law, statutes, the commandments, the prophets, you see that this is a specific family. You see that it's a family of Israel from Genesis to Revelation, the Pentateuch being written by Moshe Hanavi, the prophet Moses, the book of Psalms, David, the New Testament, the Gospels is Yahusha, the Pauline epistles is the Apostle Paul of the tribe of Benjamin. From Genesis to Revelation, including the Apocrypha, that Bible is the heritage of one people. It is a family heirloom, is what I've been. It's a culture that has been appropriated and weaponized by the same Romans that crucified and oppressed Israel. They then took their history and heritage and turned it into the Tower of Babel, right? That's basically what it is. And the Most High in his wisdom prophesied this in the very book that they appropriated, which is the power of chestnut checkers, the power of the wisdom of the Most High, was that he foretold this. Daniel talked about the statue, right? He broke down the statue, which was actually the vision given to the great Gentilic king Nebuchadnezzar of ancient Babylon, that head of gold. Daniel was able, the Most High first showed Nebuchadnezzar the end game of all the Gentiles. So he said, I'm going to show this Gentile king Nebuchadnezzar the fullness of the age of the Gentiles. And this is where Daniel came in to interpret it, and said that it shows you all the Gentile powers that would exist. And so even when Rome came on the scene, or really with the Greeks and that working of iniquity, the European power construct, when they took the scriptures, this was already foretold that they would open up the book of the Most High's word and seek to pick their likeness. And this is chestnut checkers. The Most High intended for this to come to pass. So a lot of our people, family, don't know this history. They don't look at the Bible from a historical, cultural perspective, which is dangerous, like I told y'all, because our people will think they're doing God's will by coming against what they see as hate group. I showed y'all that SPLC video. That stuff is real, right? They've indoctrinated our people and separated us so that it's hard for us to come together, and we think that it's ungodly for us to strive to create the kingdom of the Most High Yah. And this is where I tell our people that we have to work till Mashiach comes. We have to show ourselves approved. We have to show ourselves faithful. Christ said, blessed is that servant that he finds working, that is entrusted with his house when he comes. He expects us to take all our talents, both economic, because talent is a talent of silver or gold. He expects us to take our resources, our ability, talents, our giftings, and use that to unite our people and to preach this history, the gospel, the coming kingdom, the restoration of Zion, the regathering of the 12 tribes of Israel. This is the Bible, right? And our people don't know it. And I see it every day, y'all. I see different types of people that you'll interact with. Some of our people they love themselves, but they don't really have enough history. So they just think that, yeah, I love black, and they'll even associate their culture with what has been given to us as a people. CP time, Kool-Aid, all these different byword, proverb type negative stigmas that have been placed on African Americans, so-called. They'll embrace that, thinking that they're standing up for themselves. So then somebody like me that says, okay, look at the history, that tries to talk intelligent with it, present the case from a meticulous fashion, they say, oh man, this joker cool. No, he on some other stuff, he whitewashed or something, right? When they don't know themselves. And that's why it's so important to know yourself, to give back to the thing that gave you life. That it's okay, it's all right to love yourself, to love your people, to give back to the thing that gave you life, your ancestors. Know yourself, know your history, that it's okay. There's nothing against God about that. And I say it all the time, y'all. that you can't withdraw from a bank account that you don't have anything in. So you can't love others if you don't have love for yourself. So you have to apply that same micro, right, when you're interacting at an individual level, to a national level. Our community, the certain things that plague so-called African Americans from a community standpoint, is because we're not made whole in terms of who we are as a nation. So we as a community suffer because we don't love our community in terms of systematic research, history, our leaders, black leaders sitting down saying, who are we, right? Let's get all the facts together. Let's go into these West African tribes. Let's go into these sub-Saharan tribes. Let's go into these Israelite, Igbo, Yoruba. But first we just got to start with going back to the continent, thinking as a unit, thinking as a family, and coming on one accord with what is black, who are we. And Killer Mike said it. I think T.I. also talked about this, that that's the first steps to any group of people being successful. When you look at Chinese people, they have their own culture, they have their own language, they have Chinese cuisine, they have Chinese attire, they have a nation of China, they have Chinese people there. You know, it's every aspect of your individual life giving back to the thing that gave you life, right? And our people have to do a better job at being intentional about that, because it affects us on the workplace. Y'all, I can speak to all Israelites that are in this system, and me and Shawnee D, we're trying to get about this thing, y'all, and just doing the work of the Most High. He's showing himself faithful. But you see, when you're on these jobs, our people are in captivity, where you have to put up with others being above yourself, and there's nothing you could do about it, right? And a lot of our people are run with that. You got that Uncle Ruckus spirit that I like to call it, where they'll buddy with those that are in power, which tends to be Esau, and they'll sell out their people to be able to preserve their spot like a gatekeeper. So you got those types. Then you got some of our people that want to stand up for it but just are afraid. And I sympathize with our people at these levels, because I know we're in captivity. So it's not me bashing any of them, really. I have love for all of our people, even the ones that will do certain things to sabotage you. But that's why I tell y'all, we have to make loving each other a priority. And it's a mind change, y'all. It's a mind shift from what we're accustomed to. And we don't know how much white Jesus has infiltrated the way we do things. Like, we see a black person walking down the street, let's say we see him with dreads on, and we see his pants hanging down. Now, I'm not saying that that's good, but instantly we have a negative connotation that'll come in your mind if you're not careful. We all do it, y'all. We just got to be honest, that we'll interact with our people and be like, oh, I know. We'll already be on edge. We'll be on guard, where we're like, oh, man, I don't trust, niggas ain't no good. Even if you don't intend on doing it, it can happen if you're not on guard or in the spirit. And a lot of this has been placed in our subconscious through indoctrination, through negative stereotypes, through negative enigmas associated and attached to black men, black women, right? And that's why I talk about, from a family structure, a lot of our sisters don't really trust Israelite kings, Israelite men, and a lot of our Israelite kings, I ain't letting them off the hook, don't be faithful to our sisters. They running off with Becky, or they're not taking care of their children and raising their family. So it's a lot in terms of the vision that has got our people already on edge and thinking less than of one another, y'all. This stuff is crazy. That's why this history is so powerful. And y'all, that's why your boy been under a lot of opposition with it. I'm transparent to a fault. Shawnee D tell y'all, sometimes I talk to people that you got to use wisdom. Everybody's not going to be for you. And I'm not giving black people, I ain't using that as no promotion of that, because some people be like, yeah, everybody ain't gonna be for you, even in Israel, because that's not my heart, y'all. I'm telling y'all, I think we need to squash all that division and come together as a people. But when I say everybody's not gonna be for you, a lot of our people that are in that Christian mindset, family, I'm not talking about within Israel, but I'm talking about in that Christian mindset of race doesn't matter, that's a dangerous person, y'all, because they'll not support what you're doing, think that that's remedial or unintelligent, uneducated. And I'm telling y'all, I blame the Christian church for a lot of these things, all of these things, but more so are people not studying to show themselves approved and knowing history. But yeah, y'all, this stuff is something else when you're out here in Babylon, y'all. And I believe the Most High is close, y'all, that we're in those last days, that we're getting so close right now, and Satan's just throwing a temper tantrum, if you will, just throwing a fit. Because he knows his time is short. So y'all, we got to share this information with as many people as we know. Y'all like these videos, comment, share them to your family members, teach the babies that we have a beautiful history, that we come from kings and queens, that we are the daughters of Zion, right? When I say daughter, I'm just talking about like the daughter of Zion. We are sons and daughters of the Most High Yah, the children of Israel. We have a beautiful heritage and history to go back to. That's the purpose of the laws and the commandments. It's not legalism, right? It's not, if you don't do this, you're not going to be saved. The Bible was a culture. And in time, if you create a government based on your culture, if you make it where we don't even sell bacon, egg, and cheeseburgers, if you make it where people are off for the holy days, the same tactics America uses for their holidays, where they make it, their culture is just all around you. They let you off on your jobs for their holidays, you know, holidays or whatever you want to call it. That's a culture. And our people, if we change our culture slowly but surely, make it where our people don't eat some of this stuff, you'll find that it's not legalism. That if you apply the commandments at a governmental level, that it's a lot easier than what you think. Our babies are coming to the world not knowing what regular bacon is. And all we did was set them up to be born into a world not of sin, but of the laws, the culture, the commandments of the Most High Yah, which is their history. Those West African tribes to this day don't eat pork, right? The Yoruba, the Igbo, just about all West Africa. I think majority of the continent, they don't touch that stuff. But we're so separated from that culture, and that comes from a Judaistic mindset. Most of Africa, like I told y'all, Africa gets its name from Ephraim. When you look at the Afriyat family, the people of Afri, the Banu Ifran, Morocco, the kingdom of Morocco, and I went through a lot of that Moorish history, that Africa is the land of the Moors, specifically those Ephraimite northern kingdom Moors that ruled there. So they keep Torah to an extent. Now there's a lot of paganism that goes on that has come from our people worshiping Baal and a lot of stuff throughout history that has always been a stumbling block. But going back to our history is the Torah, is the law, statutes, and commandments. And we got to teach that to our kids. We got to teach that to our neighbors, our families, our loved ones, friends, people you encounter that are willing. But understand, family, there are some of our people that are just going to fight that thing. And I'm not saying you give up, but there are some that they're going to use Galatians 3:28, you know, neither Jew nor Greek. Romans 2:29, neither Jew nor Gentile, right? And they don't know the history of Gentile and Greeks. And I've done videos on First Maccabees, how a lot of those Israelites made a agreement with the Greeks to forsake Torah, build Colosseums, sacrifice pork skin in the altar to Zeus, and they became Hellenized over time, crossed over, and they became the lost sheep. A lot of them northern kingdom remnants, going back to the Assyrian fall, or the Assyrian captivity, where they had already been mixed in and lost their heritage. But it's a lot of history that goes into neither Jew nor Greek. All right, and our people don't read, they don't study to show themselves approved. That Bible, we see the hidden chapter of Acts 29 that you'll find in a Sefer, and I'm gonna do that giveaway, y'all. That's coming up soon, probably in 1 or 2 Sabbaths. I'm gonna do that. But we see a lot of that history of who Paul was sent to, who Christ was sent to, were diaspora scattered Israelites historically. I showed y'all the Harvard Israel Redivivus. It's just so much information that proves it. So we got to teach this history and show our people that that Bible is our history book. It's the black man's history book. The Bible is our history. And it's okay to love yourself. If anything, Israel is required to turn back to their culture and to teach it to their kids as a perpetual statute forever, all generations. And this is the way of government that Yeshua is going to rule in when he returns. When he returns, that's what he's going to do. He's going to rule the earth based on the law, statutes, and commandments and the culture, if you will, of Israel. And our people have to rehearse these righteous acts and get used to that even now. There's a lot of stuff we can't do, right? A lot of our fabrics and stuff has multiple different components to it. But you do the best that you can in the faith of Yeshua and the way he lived, which was Torah. And he was our big brother. He was our Lord. He's our master. He's the image of our Father. He is the love letter from on high. He is everything, right? Our life is concealed in him. He's the zip file of heaven. He is the compact image of our history, right? He's all these things, from his woolly hair to his bronze skin to all of this is a love letter from the Creator to a people that he knew would lose their history, right? And he is the last remnant of that ancient Israel that would be scattered and go deeper to Africa. We learned this through Josephus, the historian, and then would be scattered to the four corners of the earth. per Luke 21, Deuteronomy 28. So y'all, I just want to encourage y'all a little bit and let y'all know that this stuff is coming to an end, y'all. I'm telling you. And it's sad that a lot of our people we can't give up on. We got to keep preaching this stuff, but just know that there's levels to opposition that increase when you come into this walk, y'all. And when you go deeper into it and start teaching your people, you're gonna encounter some stuff that you gotta navigate. You gotta let the Most High lead you. And I'm learning that every day, y'all. I'm just sharing that with y'all, that I'm seeing how a lot of our people just are gonna side with Babylon to the very end. And it's not for us to judge them, but to do everything we can to try to teach them that we gotta love each other. You know, America has taught us that it's wrong for us to think like that. So y'all, I'm gonna do little car talks like this, and if y'all have little topics y'all want me to kind of talk about, I know I kind of cover a lot when I do this, and I can kind of go into all different stuff, but y'all just comment what y'all might want me to go deeper into. If y'all like these kind of segments, I just kind of like thinking sometime and going through this. But y'all, I love y'all with the love of the Messiah. Peace, love, blessings, and Israelite power. Y'all stay encouraged. Remember, we're the chosen of the Most High Yah, and we got next, Zion. I love y'all with the love of the Messiah. Shalom.